very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you're having a lovely Saturday afternoon. So today is Saturday the 10th of May. The time right now is 3:05 p.m. and you are tuning in to the Good News Radio. So we've been here since 2 p.m. today, and make sure to tune in till 5 p.m. As we move on to the next segment, we are going to have a very insightful discussion today, and to host the next segment we have the founder of the Foundation of Goodness, Mr. Kushal Gunasekara, who is right now tuning in. Hi Kushal.
Hi Sashikala, good to have you. It seems to be commanding today's Good News Radio the way you do, but you've taken over Vishmi's seat, I see.
Yes, Vishmi has graciously offered her seat today to me.
Was it by force?
No. She graciously gave it. This is rightfully Vishmi's seat. So today actually we have a full house here.
Yeah.
We have quite a number of radio hosts, up and coming radio hosts, and I'm sure they will show some great potential and potentially be some good voices in Sri Lanka's media industry.
Yep.
And it's also a Vesak weekend, and Monday is the blissful Vesak Poya Day. So a lot of activities happening here at the Foundation of Goodness for Vesak as well. And even in today's classes, it was very much centered around Vesak, the importance of Vesak, and what the kids, especially what they like to do for Vesak, and the significance, and most importantly, understanding the good deeds around Vesak. So overall, it's a day filled learning about a lot of good deeds, good values centered around Vesak Poya Day, which is of course the foremost Poya in the Buddhist calendar. So we are very fortunate here at the Foundation of Goodness to have the opportunity to teach kids about Vesak, especially in English, so as they know a lot in Sinhala. So it's wonderful to see them translating all of that and speaking about Vesak in English as well. And like I said, the foundation is also doing a lot of activities centered around Vesak, which I'm sure Kushal will give a brief about. So over to you, Kushal.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's lovely to have all of you here. Especially we have a very, very, special, super generous, personality whose story I will relate as we go along. He is rushed, but we somehow got hold of him to be in the Good News segment. But before that, I think, as Sashikala said, thrice blessed Vesak Day is now dawning on Monday. So we have a lot of activities surrounding that very noble, auspicious, thrice blessed day. And one of the things that we do is for the 18th consecutive year, we have a almsgiving, like a dana, at the forest monastery in the Galduva hermitage. And there are about 55 to 60 monks who are very meditative and lives in a forest kind of background. And then there are 2,000 devotees that observe self kind of reflection, and they try to meditate, they try to learn the techniques to be better than they used to be. I only hope they do that. Most of the time I see them going there on a Poya Day and then coming back, but I'm always telling them that what you strive in terms of reaching certain standards in your life or enlightenment, you need to be better than always you used to be. Otherwise you're just going for the sake of wanting to be in solitude, but when you come back you have to be someone definitely better than you went in there. So one of the amazing things that we do is that it's not easy to cater for the Vesak participants, and of course the monks are only 60, but when you take the total number of devotees who come there to spend the whole day in silence and observing various teachings of the Buddha, that makes them good, meaningful, and content citizens. So there are 2,000. So we feed them the both meals. We provide both meals, and some of them also come the previous night to take refuge there. So we do that dane as well. So it's a huge kind of undertaking, which we have been blessed and fortunate to be doing it for 18 consecutive years. So, but Saturday, being Saturday, is full on, and we've had a couple of three sets of visitors, which I have to juggle around always, running around. But because of the work they have done in the past for us, there is no way that I can try to ignore, because with the deepest respect and gratitude, I have to make sure that I go and meet them and greet them and show them what we have done, how it has evolved. For example, when Rajiv, whom I will introduce, has come after probably 13 years, he's seeing a lot of value additions, very different to what he saw. That's what actually means a lot to me, because it's not the same as he saw in 2013. So I'm sure he'll speak about it as we go along. But Rajiv is a very, very special guest. Actually, he's someone I regard as a very highly esteemed personality, purely for the fact that when we were expanding on our village heartbeat empowerment centers, we had done 5 at the time, and then just after the conflict, with time, he inherited this property from his coming down from his grandfather to the father, and then to him, the property at Madhagal by the sea, somewhat similar, like in Sinigama. It's just about 100 meters to the sea, and it was a very strategic location where actually the Sri Lankan Army, the LTT and the IPKF all occupied that premises, because it was so strategic, being located next to the sea. And when he inherited that building, it was kind of shattered, and he was pretty young at the time, and then he still said to me, "Look, I think you will serve a purpose more meaningful and better than I would, and therefore why don't you do one of your village heartbeat empowerment centers at the Mathagal property?" So luckily I had the good fortune of having a few donors, especially my co-trustee Ashan, who put up his hand and said he will definitely sponsor. So we were able to get that up and running beautifully, and he gifted this villa, and today, thanks to him, we've actually, in my opinion, if I'm not mistaken, we've helped 4,000 villagers from about 15 in that region to do better, fast track their different areas of interest. Their standards have been elevated. They have studied so many different courses. So imagine, from about 15 villagers, 4,000 have already been graduated, let me say. So, and we have a preschool there. We have 9 subjects, and we have volleyball court, and it's a buzzing place, as we call it, the Village Heartbeat Empowerment Center. Now Rajiv is the one who basically made it happen. He's young, so he could have actually had that property 100 meters to the sea. Who would want to give up their ancestral property? And he, without any doubt, without batting an eyelid, as we say, without hesitation, he immediately came forward to gift the villa, and from there onwards there has been no looking back, and for more than a decade we've been running that center, and that was our 6th Village Heartbeat Empowerment Center, where we have now 20. So it's difficult to catch Rajiv. He lives in England. He's a cricket when I say not only an enthusiast, I use that term as a cricket buff, and he lives next to Lord's, so he's in and out of Lord's as well, and I've been meeting him in England, and his knowledge on cricket is great, and he writes articles to the papers. So it's been a fabulous journey that we've had together, a partnership where he never interferes, he just watches our progress and adds value in terms of sending quotes and poems and what to put on the notice board and stuff like that. So we're very fortunate that he rang me one day and said he's coming here in May and he would be going to Madagal to see, obviously he'll rejoice seeing what happens there. He was very welcome there, and the kids and the students and the ladies who were doing the women's empowerment program, they all rallied around, welcomed him and his wife Mala. So here he is now come to the south, and he's coming to the Foundation of Goodness also after 10 years or more, I think probably 12 years or so. And I wanted to extend my usual hospitality here. He's done the round, he's gone to sports, he's enjoyed the southern authentic cuisine, and now he's ready to even go for a sea swim, I think. But before that, Rajiv, we welcome you warmly and thank you for dropping by at the Foundation of Goodness, not only to see what we have done and upscale, but also you're here with the Good News Radio, and Sashikala and I are hosting this segment, and we would have been very sad if you had gone without being in the program, having done so much. So Rajiv, it's good to have you here, and we are very, very appreciative of your time. We value and admire the time commitment that you have given to be with us today. So over to you, Rajiv, and what do you think after coming up 13 years and then also your visit to Madagal and what you've seen, and how you have processed what we have done, and whether your gift has transformed so many lives, and only a few rare quality people of your caliber can do that, and that's been amazing. So Rajiv, please go ahead.
Thank you, Kushal, for that kind welcome. First of all, Kushal, thank you for that lovely, warm welcome. It's much appreciated, very touching. And I think while Kushal has lavished praise on me, whilst I must admit I enjoy that, I provided the water, but you can take the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. And I may have given the water, but it's Kushal who has engineered it in such a way that people can drink from that water and reap the benefits. It's all his hard work, and everyone else who I've met at the Foundation of Goodness, the volunteers, the people who both in Sri Lanka and overseas who've come here, the sponsors. It's all their energy that has resulted in such a success story that has yielded 22 centres. And so, to answer your first question, Kushal, what have I seen different between now and 2012, when I first came to see your flagship property in Sinigama? Well, some things have stayed constant, and that is the energy and the drive and that commitment, that goal of empowering people who are underprivileged. So that hasn't changed. That message is still identical. It's still the same. Obviously, you've expanded. You've got, from memory, in 2012, you didn't have a Montessori junior school. Probably didn't have a dentistry, from what I remember. So yeah, it's just building and building, and it's multiplying, and it's at an exponential rate, because goodness, as you've always told me, Kushal, multiplies. And then Madagal, yes, the last time I saw that was 1981. I have no recollection. I was 2 years old. It was a short family trip. My father had just recently built the property for his parents-in-law, i.e. my mother's parents, my maternal grandparents. And then when I left there in 1981, after a few days, no one would have said that it would take me another 44 years before I returned. My grandfather lived there as you said, with the IPKF, with the Tamil Tigers, with the Sri Lankan Army from about 1983 to 1990. And then my parents saw it in 2017, by which time you had developed it into a centre. They were very proud of what I had done, of what you had done, in fact. And then I took my wife Marla, who's of Guyanese extraction, to Marthagal on my visit, and I was welcomed handsomely. The children had a band on offer. They provided me with food, and I had a tour of the facility. And for me, it was my first time, because I don't remember 1981 at all. And absolutely great to see the children's, the smiles on their faces when I was giving out sweets, etc. They were so grateful. And these children, you know, they don't go to Miami on holiday. They don't have stag do's. They don't have access to the things that I've been blessed with, private school, etc. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way. It's just where I happened by chance to be born into that kind of family. Then today we've come to your place, Kushal, and again see the same energy, the same drive, the same commitment. But I think what was telling out of everything is what my wife said to me. Marla, as I said, she's Guyanese. She knew little about Sri Lanka before she met me. And she said something very moving just now, just before I came in here. She said, Rajiv, I went to the north with you. You told me that they were all Tamil Hindus generally. You've now taken me here, and you've told me that the majority are Buddhist Sinhalese. She said, of the people, what's the distinction? What is the difference? And I said to her, you know what? I think you've just summed it up, because that's exactly a sentiment that Kushal would say. I can't tell the difference. And I think that's what's an important message here. Kushal has always said that, you know, we're trying to bridge the gap between the rural and the city life. Well, you're doing another bridging, which is you're bridging communities, because the north are learning Sinhalese and the south are learning Tamil. And that to me is equally, if not more important, than your original mission plan of bridging the urban village life divide.
Yes, Rajiv, but all this couldn't have been done, you know, if not for you and, you know, so many other donors who have joined the bandwagon to serve humanity in different ways. And, you know, the fact that you actually gifted your property, Marthagal, as I repeat again and again, which is very rare when you were so young, and to basically, you know, let go for a bigger cause was absolutely, you know, admirable and so praiseworthy. So, you know, it's a partnership. It's not about one or the other, but we have all come together to serve humanity in the best interest as we do. Like Mother Teresa said, serving humanity is the best work of life, and it's about doing small things with great love. But I would like to add that it's also the hardest work of life. It's not easy to serve humanity. You know, it's a tough call, because you have to have the passion and like you say, the energy and the drive to keep going, you know, unfailingly day after day, as we now have 22 centers, and very soon at Delft another one end of May, so it becomes 23. You know, I'm not showing any signs of pressure, but like the champions say, pressure is a privilege for champions. But you know, at some point in time, you know, it's going to add up more and more. Not only the workload, but also raising funds, you know, elevating the standards, keeping it the way we have always done. But one good thing we can blissfully rejoice is that all communities have come together. We have served everywhere equally, like serving with one spoon to all of them. Whether it's like in the north, I mean north we have now, we're going to have 5 centers. In the estate communities up country, we have 5, right? That's 10. Then we have in the north central areas and the poorest of, you know, Monoragala, Mayangana, Polonnaruwa, Tambulla, you know, all those areas as well. So, and others being in the south, and, you know, so we've got 22, and as I said, you know, about 9,500 students are learning practically, you know, every day other than the 2 holidays. So it's been a mind-boggling journey, but all this, I cannot take the credit myself. It's a collective effort. I wouldn't have been able to go to Madagal if not for you. So likewise, so many other donors also gifted their, premises for us to do what we do best. But I think more importantly, we're harnessing the talent, skills, and the potential that we have in the rural areas to make them go that far and progressively, get into where they want to aspire to achieve. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being with us, for coming here after so long. And that's been really amazing. Sometimes it's very hard, not sometimes, but it's the hardest thing to let go of what you own, in terms of an asset. But you've done that and shown, you demonstrated amply. So I'm wishing you nothing short of but the very best. May you go from happiness to happiness and from light to light. And hopefully you'll come back again now that you're familiarizing with Sri Lanka more. I think you've come here after 10 years, right?
8 years, yeah. 2017 was the last time I came to, but I only stayed in Colombo. I want to make it a bit more regular. And before that, I think it was another 5 years and maybe another 15 before that. So they're not regular trips, but hopefully I can change
So next time you come, you have to stay here and do some cricket coaching as well, because you're a cricket, as I said, a buff, right?
Yes,
So,
playing might be a bit difficult because I think quality standard, I don't think I'm in the same level as what you're producing.
Yeah, but at least you might be able to give some very important guidelines and mentoring and the kind of exposure you have living next door to Lords, right? So you said 400 steps away.
Exactly.
So I'll see you during the test between England and India.
Yes, I will be there day one.
Yeah, from July 8th to the 15th. I enjoy going there. Fortunately, I'm blessed to be a honorary life member. I have to only wear the bacon and egg tie and put the suit on, which I'm not used to. But I really enjoy going to Lords because at the end of the day, no matter which country you're in, which venue you go to, MCG has almost 100,000 capacity, and probably Lords would have only about 35,000. So, but the home of cricket is very different to all the other cricket venues I have seen. So much tradition, so much heritage, and it's a place that I cannot describe. So it gives you like great vibes, great energy, and the feeling of being involved in the game. And that's where the game probably began to flourish in England. And it spread its wings from there. That's why they call it the home of cricket, I guess. But so Rajiv has chosen his home next to Lords. Can you believe? So I'm hoping he'll give me tea as well.
Of course, I will give you, entertain you, and St John's Wood High Street. It's a beautiful, leafy suburb of northwest London.
Can you actually see from your apartment?
No, my apartment's facing the other road, but if I use the staircase to leave the flat, I can see slightly into HQ. Yes.
Yeah, I think I've been to Blazecourt, or there's another.
Oh no, that's on the other side. That's
side.
opposite the Lord's Tavern.
Right.
I'm right on the other side of the
Right.
other part of the ground, behind the Warner stand.
Yeah, talking about cricket and England, as you know, MCC Lords, have been very closely associated with us, and they built a ground, post tsunami, other than building my center of excellence as well. And in as an honor, after 17 years, the school that they actually provided the ground this year created a national record, where in the Division 3 of the Under-19 tournament, they won 16 consecutive outright victories, won the two-day championship and the one-day championship, and they were promoted to Division 2. So it's actually a tribute in good news and gratitude for what the MCC has done. It was a national record. Just imagine, 17 years in cricket, because of the facility that was provided, they broke all-time national record. So you can just imagine how that has evolved, and I'm sure MCC would be delighted to know that their money is well spent and has been put to good use, because it's the same as the day one they gave us the venue, if not better, and the cricketers, more importantly, have produced some breathtaking results. So it's been miraculous for them. So I'm so happy to have been the conduit facilitating the Foundation of Goodness in between with MCC and Sri Sumangala. Has been a incredible journey. So yeah.
I think the great thing is with your foundation is that it's intertwined with cricket, and both enterprises, the Foundation of Goodness and cricket, they emanate a spirit of fairness and goodness. So I think it's a good marriage, having cricket with the Foundation of Goodness.
Sashkal, do you have anything to ask? Because you didn't know much of the background of Rajiv, and there's a severe audience, and I think Jumana is there, Natali is there, Tejan. Right, Tejan has joined pretty recently, but there are 3 English stars. So I'm sure that you have one question each to ask Mr. Rajiv Radhakrishnan. So Natali, you can ask the first question, and then we have a very special guest as well, waiting to be interviewed and have a chat. I can talk about her as well once this segment is over, and we are thankful to Professor Anusha Seniratna for being here with us.
So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, sir. So as you see the Foundation of Goodness, today you travel all over, you see lots of students and their improvements. So what do you think about that?
Well, it's great to see, because without the Foundation of Goodness, the talent would have been there, but it would not have been harnessed because there wasn't a facility to expose that. So it's great to see these children have been given that opportunity. Whether they take it or not, well, that's a different story. But that source is there, and it's for them to make use of it, take advantage of that in a good way. And then what that does, it multiplies, because what will happen is they will take it back to their homes. They will share that knowledge, whatever principles that they learn from here, with their families, and that will have a ripple effect. And then as they grow older and become an adult like your good self, we hope that you will return and not pay back, but sort of return the benefits that you've learned to the next generation, and then the cycle continues. So that's what the aim is. That's what I can see.
Yeah, thank you, sir. But this question is not related to here. What do you think? What do you think about what thing is good, practicals or theories?
Well, you need both. To do the practical, you need the theory. So you need to do the studying, and then you need to do the application. And the studying will give you little nuances, and then you do the practical, and you might not do the practical correctly, which is fine. But then you go back to the theory, and you learn about it, and then you apply it again. But I think one message there is that don't be afraid of failing or the shortcomings. That's part of it. This is a great US sportsman, basketball player. He said he fails 99% of the time. Roger Federer, you know who he is, the great Wimbledon tennis player, professional player? Yeah, he won. Yes, so he's won over 20 Grand Slams, probably 3rd or 4th in the ranking, in the number, apart Djokovic, etc. They did an analysis on how many points he won. And throughout all his professional career, those 20 Grand Slams and a load of other singles tournaments, he only won 54% of each individual point. That's just 54. So he's failing half the time. And yet, look at him. So don't be afraid of failing. That's part of the fun. That's part of the learning.
Thank you, sir.
And that reminds me, Natali, just make things happen. Because sometimes, people wonder what happened. Some people watch things happen. But just go make things happen. Doesn't matter that you fail, like Rajiv said. Stay positive, look ahead, never give up, and do the best you can.
And 80% of success is just turning up.
Yep.
Just turn up. We can worry about the rest later. Sorry, your question.
So we have Jumana here now.
So yeah, you previously you told that you're from England, UK, right? So when you came to Sri Lanka, before you came to Sri Lanka, or even made the foundation of goodness, what was your life like exactly?
What, just growing up in England?
Yeah, kind of.
Well, yeah, so I moved to England when I was 5. I was actually born in Nigeria. I don't have too much recollection. My father worked out there as an engineer, but my mum and my sister moved from Sri Lanka there. So England it has been my life since I was 5. I'm 46 now, so 41 years. And your question was what it's like in England. So it's very, I would say there's a lot more. It depends what type of school you go to. So I was fortunate enough to go to one of the top public schools, Merchant Taylor's private school, which has had some connection with Foundation of Goodness. And because I had all that opportunity, I don't think I really knew I had that opportunity until I looked at people who didn't come from the better schools or the more privileged schools. When I went to university, a lot of people came from state schools. Then I visited, developing nations like India, Sri Lanka, and then I realized how lucky, without sounding arrogant, but how lucky I happened just by coincidence, by fluke, to be born into such a family. And that's the key for me. Just because you happen to have gone to university, or you worked at some of the top 5 consultancies, like I worked at Deloitte, Accenture, that doesn't make me a better person, doesn't make me a worse person, but it's just a roll of the dice. I just happened to be born into that. Now there is someone out there in one of these villages who is far cleverer than I am, better at cricket, better at everything, but he or she has not been given the chance. And that's Kushal's message of this place, is why is that fair by an accident of birth that I get to go to stag do's on Miami or go to New York or do this, I've done all of that, when that boy in that village there probably hasn't even left Sinigama, but yet he's much more talented. How is that fair? Kushal has given a route to solve that.
So, thank you.
All right, great conversations, very insightful, I must say, especially the questions coming from our youngsters.
Teja? No.
And all right, we have another one of our youngsters ready to throw a question.
Hi, I am Tejan. Mr. Rajiv, what can you say about our founder of Foundation Goodness, Foundation of Goodness, about Kushin sir?
Easiest question.
What can I say about Kushal? Well, Kushal knows what I think of him. Good question. I don't think he gives himself enough plaudits. Kushal, a very humble person, but you expect that from Sri Lankans. I've always noted that the Sri Lankan people are very humble. They never promote themselves. They never show off. And I think that's a great attribute that we have in our country, and I think we should all stick by that. That doesn't mean to be weak and be a pushover. Be confident. I've seen Kushal. You can't push him over. He will come back at you if you have a shortfall. I've seen bits of that today. But he does it in a proper way. He does it in a respectful way, and I think that's important. So make sure all of you stand up for yourself. Don't be a pushover just because they say, oh, they're Sri Lankan, they're generally quite gentle. Well, yes, but you will all have a backbone. Talking about Kushal, for me, before I knew Kushal, I would get irritated with people who were tardy. I hated people who were late or who would claim to say that they're going to be doing something. And in my daily life, it's really important that if someone says they're going to be there at a particular time, they are. That was instilled by my parents. They're punctual. If money is owed, you pay them back timely, and you give a reason. And if you can't do it, you maybe set up a program. But there's an efficiency and there's a communication. You don't just ghost people. I've dealt with a lot of people like that, who you phone them, you don't hear from them, then they suddenly appear in your life don't waste your time with that. You need reliability. If I speak to Kushal, I call him, yes, he might be busy. He might just say, Brad, give me 2 hours. I'm just in the middle of something. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's a flow there. My wife is like that, Marla, who came and visited. And that's something that, is one of the positive things. That's why I love my wife so much, because it's that reliability. Kushal has that trait. It is so important. So from a Kushal point of view, you asked me to describe him, that reliability, structure, organized, doesn't mess about. And if he can't do something, he'll say so. When you're growing up, and if someone asks you three, I'm talking to the youngsters here, to do something, and you're not sure, or you don't understand, you go back to that person. And if you can't do it, or you can't meet them at that time, or you've got a clash, don't try and please everyone. Just say, no, I'm coming here at this time. Thank you for the offer, but I won't be able to make it. There's nothing wrong in saying no, as long as there's a valid reason. So Kushal gets things done, organized, structured, reliability. Those are traits that you must all develop. Don't mess people around. Okay?
Under promise and over deliver. That's what it is. Last question, because we have a very special guest.
Hi, my name is Patum. Thank you for giving me this valuable opportunity.
Sure.
So, how do you measure the impact or success of your donations?
Sorry, so again, how do I measure the impact of?
Impacts or success of your donations.
Of my donations?
Yeah.
Well, for me, I've looked at the dashboards out here, so you can see from a statistical point of view the impact that it's had. But I'm not thinking, is my £1 driving this particular venture or that? It's just a collective issue which is displayed in the statistics. Now, stats are good and bad. We do need them because we need to showcase. But I don't think you need numbers to showcase the success of this place. I'm walking around and there's energy, there's drive, there's people running around looking to learn. They're well disciplined. Look how well behaved these youngsters are. The teachers are engaged. They are desperate to educate these youngsters. And there's no slovenliness, there's no sloppiness. Everyone's got a smile on their face. Yeah. It's crackling with positive energy. That's how you measure the success.
Yeah. Finally, what message would you share with us? What kind of message?
Yes. So how old are you?
I'm 20.
You're 20.
He's in the university. He just got into the university.
Right. Okay. So you're doing, what degree are you doing?
I'm doing still in the first year. So after first year, we can choose our degree, and I wish to choose decision science degree.
Okay, cool. So whatever the field it is...
it is related to supply chain and operation management.
Sure. So whatever subject you or your colleagues are doing, and whatever subjects you choose, make sure you enjoy them. Don't be forced into anything that you don't want to do. I know there's a lot of parental pressure in order to choose a safe profession. Having said that, remember, you don't want to be frustrated later in life thinking, oh, you know what, I did what I loved, but now I can't afford to live the life I want. Yeah? So just be aware of that. People will say, oh, always do what you love, etc. But that may not allow you to go on your fancy holidays and drive your fancy cars. So you've got to be realistic. So the safe options, medicine, law, etc., that you may not like as much, but then don't complain when you don't have the material goods. But let's face it, we all enjoy our TVs and our cars and our holidays. Don't pretend that you don't. We do love them. So it's just that balance. But if you're happy not to have that and do what you love, then go ahead and do that. But then don't be resentful later on in your life when you see your peers doing this, and that can cause jealousy, etc. Now I know Kushal has put messages up on the board of controlling emotions and being this and that. It's human nature for us to compete, to look at our peers and feel jealousy. There's nothing you can do about that. It's natural. It's how you handle that you have to be conscious of. So yeah, you've got to be realistic.
Thank you so much. And I want to thank you, Mr. Kaushal Gunasekara, because I have good news. And in my university, I have joined with some kind of sort of clubs. And I joined with Japur Voice and Japur News Club. And I have selected as the head of design master from 10 students from my first year student. Still I'm in the first year, and now I'm the handling that all designing works in the university news panel.
Many congratulations.
Well done.
Brilliant.
Because
Really superb.
I have completed graphic design course here and English course here also, and I have became as the second best English speaker in my girl club.
Fantastic. Such good news. So are they aware of your background with the Foundation of Goodness? Or do you tell them, or have you told them about your Foundation of Goodness?
Yeah, I told them I learned some courses from here, 10 more courses like graphic design, English, and comparing also. So I have joined with the Japura Voice. It is comparing club, and it is a club that presents students to improve their creativity. So I have told them about this foundation and Mr. Kushal Gunasekar, and I have done a speech about you in my English lecture also, because my lecture said you can do a speech a person that you most admire. So I did a speech about you. And
But we are so proud on behalf of the Foundation of Goodness that you actually studied here. You did as many as 9 courses. You went to the university. Actually, he's a twin, and both got exactly the same results in the advanced level, 3 years. He was the head prefect, and the twin was the deputy head prefect. So it's not a setup, but
Like the War Brothers, but you're too young. You're too young to remember Stephen Mark Moore.
yeah. So he's been a proud product of the Foundation of Goodness, and he'll always be a goodness ambassador or a goodness star wherever he goes, because he's got that, good values ingrained and instilled in him, and I know he'll continue to flourish greatly. Very well done, Pathum.
thank you so much.
Great. What a lovely discussion that was. We had 3 youngsters answer questions, and also we had Pathun, who's visiting us after a while, but seems to have found his voice at university and is thoroughly enjoying. So thank you very much, Mr. Rajiv.
15 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rajiv, for...
Thank you. It was an honour to be here. Really enjoyed it, and I will keep in touch.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for all the good deeds that you have done for the Foundation of Goodness. We at the Foundation really appreciate your values and everything you have done for the Foundation.